Before this video starts, I'd like to remind you all to like and subscribe, otherwise without your support, videos like this will not be possible. So as you all know, I've made a lot of ships in Stormworks, and I thought it would be a good idea to showcase them all. So without further ado, let's go. This took way too long to record. Alright, the first ship on our list, well, it's not really a ship, it's the Picket boat. Now, the Picket boat is really not that interesting of a boat. It doesn't really have much, like it's got a light and well, that's about it. It's meant for transferring officers between ships, and that's pretty much it. It's got good handling and a decent speed of just under 60 kilometers per hour, and it's got a small, very efficient engine, but no way to refill it, so that's a problem. Yeah, there really isn't much interesting with this boat. So yeah, on to the next one. Alright, our next boat is more interesting. It's the motor torpedo boat. Now, the motor torpedo boat, as the name implies, it's a motorized torpedo boat. It's pretty fast. Max speed is well over 100 kilometers per hour. Though the engine is stuttering, that's why I prefer 37% throttle. You obviously have got your two torpedoes. Aiming them is kinda difficult, you don't have a reticle or anything. You've got assault rifles for I don't know, small targets, a machine gun in the front, but it uses WASD control, so it's pretty difficult to aim it. Yeah, that's a problem. In the back, you've got a light autocannon for either normal water targets, air targets, or Godzilla if you're unlucky. Anyways, and this boat does have an interior. As we can see, you have your three engines, the generators at the back, and the fuel tanks and the batteries. Now, unfortunately, I've not thought of adding a fire extinguisher or a repairing torch. So yeah, you can access your engines, but you cannot repair them. This is a way bigger. So yeah, that's the motor torpedo boat. A pretty good vessel in my opinion. Pretty maneuverable, pretty agile, good for quick situations. And yeah, on to the next one. Alright, so our next ship is the normal torpedo boat, or at least an older style torpedo boat. More like early 1900s. It's pretty quick at 47 kilometers per hour. Now let's actually talk about the ship. You've got your bridge here in the front, and let's talk about these controls because, well, the exact same controls are pretty similar to every single other ship. You've got your throttle, your reverse, you can turn the ship with the helm, and you've got air for the boiler and lighting it up. So yeah, this is basically the universal controls for all my ships. So yeah, in the front we've got a battle cannon. Pretty good armament for such a small vessel. And yeah, that's it for the front. There's access to the below deck, but we'll go there later. In the back we've got, again, another light autocannon for, well, anti-aircraft, but because it's WASD, it's pretty difficult to take out aircrafts with these. Ammunition for it. You can see the two engines with these skylines over here, and another battle cannon at the back. And yeah, that's it for the top of the ship. Now let's go below deck. Down here you've got kind of an equipment bay with all sorts of equipment. The stabilization weight that is keeping the ship stable. Going here we have kind of ammunition storage and coal holding. And these two doors open up just in front of the gun for you to replenish the ammunition. Going here, which is a pretty difficult area to go to, we have the engine room with its condenser, the two reciprocating engines, and of course access to above. Over here we've got our boiler room with its firebox and coal, plenty of coal to be exact, and access outward. And it doesn't continue any further from here, but there is another underwater section that we'll go to later. So let's get out from here. Alright, and we'll go to there next. Going from here, or from above, because there are two axes, here's the torpedo room. Now, we will fire the torpedoes later, but this isn't just a torpedo room. You also got your weapons here, and two medical beds. And down here is the main ammo storage with the batteries, and that's it. I should probably like put a wall here or something to protect against arena collision, but yeah. So that's it for this room. Let's go upstairs from these ladders. To fire it, you just press 1, but you've got to press again to close the door. Okay, it doesn't want to work. It fires like that. Now there is a chance it may get stuck. It happens from time to time. In these situations, you just wait and see. You really can't do much. Alright, I did it. It's very difficult. Right, it's very difficult. Alright. We reloaded it and we can fire it again. Okay, that was flawless. So yeah, that's the torpedo boat. In my opinion, it's a very nice ship. Small, compact, armed to the teeth torpedo boat. It's got some quirks that probably need working out, and I have to figure out what to do with the back area. But all in all, it's a very nice ship. On to the next one. Alright, so the next vehicle on our list is the Submarine, which it's not the most developed ship that I have. It doesn't have much. It has a heavy autocannon in the front, but it doesn't have much ammo, only like 60 rounds on top. Even more inside, but it's kind of difficult to access them. And yeah, that's really it for the outside. I mean, it's a submarine, it obviously won't have anything on the outside. Everything is going to be inside. So let's go inside. So inside, you've got your two torpedoes ready to be loaded, and you have one already inside the launch tube. You've got a lot of batteries, a lot of equipment for some reason. Your two medium engines, your generators, back here more ammo for the heavy autocannon, more batteries, the motors, and that's it. So yeah, that's it for the interior. No compartmentalization, which may seem weird, but in all honesty, you aren't going to survive anything. You really don't need survivability when you are never going to survive anything. So yeah, let's take control of it. Full throttle, it is actually pretty fast at 31 kilometers an hour. And of course, it dives normally, it works normally. How on earth are we going 43 kilometers an hour? God damn. So yeah, something is clearly wrong there. Anyways, interesting things to mention. Yeah, the engines help to power up the batteries, but an interesting thing I've done is you can actually use engine power to move the sub. So now we're running on engine power. We are a lot slower, but I do think we are charging the generator somewhat. Hold on, let me check. No, we aren't, not even a single bit. Okay, that's a problem. But yeah, you can do like long distance cruising like this. I don't really like using the generator power. I prefer the electric power because, well, it's just better. Anyways, it's time to actually fire the torpedoes. It has a pretty similar firing mechanism with the torpedo boat. The problem is that you have more torpedoes, and it's probably a little bit more finicky because you have to worry about the water inside the torpedo tube and stuff like that. So yeah, let's fire. Alright, you've got to be really quick with it, otherwise a lot of water will get in, and it's either going to take a lot of time to pump out, or it's just going to fill your sub with water. So the first torpedo isn't that hard to load in, and we can fire it again. Okay, they kind of like to get stuck. On the previous recordings, they did actually get stuck a lot. And now for the third torpedo, the hardest one to load. I forgot to open the door. I won't need it. Honestly, the hardest part is just making sure the third torpedo actually lands on the rails. Otherwise, it's just gonna fall over and you're not gonna be able to put it back in. So yeah. And yeah, that was a flawless launch, unlike all the other times. And yeah, that's it for the submarine. It really doesn't have anything more going for it. So yeah, on to the next ship. Alright, our next ship is the Destroyer, which is way too big to spawn on the starter island, so that's why we're in here on, what was it again? North Harbor. And it is, well, supposed to be faster than the Torpedo Boat, but in practice it really isn't that much faster. It's actually pretty much the same speed as the Torpedo Boat. So yeah, but it has way more firepower, as you can clearly tell, but it is less maneuverable, and yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the firepower. In the front you've got a dual cannon turret, and you even have a camera to a screen actually to aim them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You have a decent amount of cells, but I found them to not be enough, and replenishing ammo is extremely difficult due to my design mistakes, which we'll talk about them later. Up here you've got, I don't know, a higher bridge, balcony, I don't know. Down here we've got two autocannons for anti-aircraft defense, which are, they're placed in between the funnels, which means that you have smoke blocking your view. So yeah, that's a very good design decision. Yeah, you've got access to the boiler rooms down below, but we won't go there yet. Over here you've got a twin torpedo launcher, if I can actually climb on it. But here you've got another two turrets. So honestly, this kind of gun arrangement isn't really historically accurate with like World War I destroyers, which, considering this destroyer is supposed to be from a pre-World War I era, is kind of a problem. But it is more similar to like Japanese destroyers or German destroyers of World War II. So yeah, obviously both these turrets work. Now something interesting to mention, when this middle turret over here is facing to either one side, I've added these, like, as I was saying, I've added these rails over here to like prevent you from falling down in the water, but as you clearly saw, they did not work. So if you want to exit the turret safely, I recommend turning it this way. Anyways, now onto this torpedo launcher. Let me actually show you what I meant. When you fire it like that, it's gonna want to turn, and that's the problem. So yeah, that's it for the ship. Now let's actually go below. Here you've got the last section of the ship with the generators, and basically that's it. So yeah, let's continue forwards. Here you've got pumps and empty space in here. Yeah, I only did this for like protection. Yes, over here you've got ammo storage for the guns in the back and more pumps. Over here you've got one of the engine rooms. It uses expansion engines, which, let me talk about this for a second. Originally the destroyer used turbines, but expansion engines, in Stormworks at least, for some reason are better than turbines. That's not how it is in real life. For some reason, whether it is that I don't make good enough turbines, or that's how it is in the game, I don't know, but yeah, expansion engines work better than turbines. You've also got a pump, a pretty good one at that, and a condenser. So yeah, here you've got the other engine room for the other propeller, because this ship has two propellers. Here you've got one of your boiler rooms. Yes, a lot of coal. And here the other boiler room, and obviously you've got access to the outside for almost all the rooms. Now there is a reason why both the boiler rooms and the engine rooms are separate. It is for, like, for instance, I don't know, you get hit by either a torpedo or a cannon, and one of the boiler rooms is taken out. Well, there's still another one providing steam. So yeah, that's the reason why I've separated them. Originally both boilers were in one room, but I separated them for extra survivability. Alright, and here you've got a lot of rounds for the forward gun, a lot more than for the back guns, which is kind of weird. And here is the most forward section, and there's absolutely nothing aside from batteries. Let me now demonstrate what I meant that it's difficult to replenish ammo. Let's say you want to take one round. You have to go up here to this kind of like medical bay over here. You've got a lot of equipment and medkits, and here even more, and the guns. You open here and you go outside, and yeah, here we're back in the bridge. And that's the thing, let's say you want to replace around here, which I didn't want to do that. Like, you have to do all this journey for one round. You cannot carry multiple at a time. It is kind of manageable when you have multiple people, but with one person it's nearly impossible to replenish rounds. I may put a better system, but that's how it is right now. So that's the destroyer. In my opinion, it's a very nice ship. There are only a few things that need slight improvement, but honestly it's a very good ship, one of my favorites. And our next ship is the light cruiser, and the bridge is this interesting enclosed and open design. I don't know how to explain it. You have these bridge wings on the sides, and actually the bridge is quite tall for some reason. That's because actually it's sitting on a extra room down below. Up there, as you can see, you've got a rangefinder that doesn't work. And yeah, that's it for the bridge. Going down here, you've got this room, which is empty. If you guys have any suggestions as for what should I put here, probably captain's quarters or I don't know, something, let me know in the comments. Up front here, you've got your artillery cannon, which is in a semi-enclosed turret. You actually have a camera to aim it with. Why do I always say camera? It's a screen. Anyways, let's see. I don't think that's gonna hit. Yeah, it is not gonna hit. Yeah, cannon. And that's really it for this top section. There is another one at the back, but you cannot go to the back from here. So let's climb down from here to these secondary armaments, one here and one on the other side. Now, the way that I've placed them makes it impossible for you to shoot targets that are in front of you. You have to be offset. And you can't even shoot targets over there, like you clip into the wall. So yeah, that's a design error on my part. I'll have to redesign them differently, but for now that's how they are. You've got ammo for them, and they function pretty much the same as the torpedo boat's cannon. Over here you've got a medical bay and equipment, and here an empty space only to separate these two rooms from like flooding damage. Over here you've got your 4 funnels that not only have access ports but also skylines to the boiler rooms below. We'll go there later. You also have got a pair of secondaries with their ammo. Here you've got your second tower, and to the back you've got another pair of secondaries with ammo and torpedoes, similar to like the destroyer, because you can actually aim them. Should I fire one? Why not? Let's fire one. Over here you've got another medical bay, who could have thought. No equipment this time though, which may be a problem. And here you've got, I don't know, a top room. I don't know what it's supposed to be, either observation or rangefinder control, even though the rangefinders do not work. And here you've got your aft artillery cannon. So yeah, that's it for the outside. Let's go inside, and I say we enter from here. Anyways, you've got your battery here, a pump room, the condenser room over here with equipment. That's from where we went. The steam engine room with 5 piston expansion engines. Such a thing does not exist in real life. 4 was the limit. And your generators, of course. The skylines up above. One of the boiler rooms, the aft boiler room to be exact. Again, skylines. And funnily enough, skyline inside the funnel. Yeah, it's pretty empty. Equipment, pumps. What else? Over this side, another engine room. The front one. Same, exact same, no difference. Here, coal storage on these sections. These sections are here simply for like flooding damage, to protect against flooding damage. More pumps. Here, pretty much same story. If you get hit on the side, not completely flood a compartment, and more pumps. And yeah, that's it. Climbing here, we go to this area that we were before. So yeah, that's it for the light cruiser. Again, a pretty nice design. I really like how like tall and imposing the bridge looks, and the fact that it has very heavy armament for its size. Anyways, on to the next one. Right, the next ship is the heavy cruiser. Now I do want to mention a few things. Actually, one thing. The design is inspired from the real-life Yorio Saverov heavy cruiser. And you can actually see some of the similarities between them, especially in the gun arrangement. So yeah, that's all I had to mention. The bridge, it has 2 bridge wings, obviously. It has an upstairs section where you've got 2 rangefinders from the secondary weaponry, and a main one up top. Again, they do not work. I do not know how to make a functional rangefinder. If anybody knows, please tell me in the comments. A chair, probably for the captain. Over here, 2 funnels, a skyline that looks all the way down to the boilers, and access below. We'll go there later. Here we have the second bridge. Actually, I don't know how it's called, and it is a very open design. Again, another rangefinder there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We won't go down there yet. I do want to show the guns first before we go inside. The guns. The 2 main turrets are ripped straight from the battleship. They function pretty much the same way. If I can actually get in and show. You basically have to load these 2 weapons, and you can control them from here. You've got a massive screen to utilize. Yeah, they are pretty powerful, but you only have 2 turrets with 2 guns each, so yeah, not a lot of firepower, but I guess for this size it is pretty normal. And obviously the secondary weaponry, which is 2 battle cannons, the same as the destroyer, but they are in a fully enclosed turret, which I guess makes them better. So yeah, that's the secondary battery. Honestly, a very cool design with this, I don't know, small circular turret. Right. And for the back, it's exactly the same, no difference. So yeah, let's go inside. Inside we have a lot of equipment, medical bay, the weird ass staircase that I have added that goes from 2 stairs to 1 stair because you could not fit through if there were 2 stairs. Yeah, don't ask me, I'm not good at designing. The 2 funnel uptakes, the boiler rooms below, we'll go there later. And here is access to the bridge. So yeah, that's it for the first floor. Let's go down below. So let's start from the front. Massive batteries. The ship is split in half with this massive wall to protect against water, like for not an entire compartment to flood. But the problem is that all this does is just make the ship capsize if it actually sinks. So yeah, that's a problem. Cold storage here. Compartment completely empty, by the way. Oh no, you have more coal there. I did not know that, even though I built the ship. Yeah, I may have dementia or something. Over here, again, empty space. There really is nothing. You've got these doors that connect the 2 split compartments to like combat capsizing, but it doesn't really do anything. One of the 4 boiler rooms. You obviously got more and more, and the access is up top. I should mention, like, you can actually close these hatches if you are flooding with water to prevent, I don't know, water from spilling upward, even though it probably will never reach that high. Over here, the engine rooms, which these are pretty pitiful engines. They are meant to be small because the heavy cruiser really is not supposed to go as fast as the light cruiser. Like, it's not really chasing speed, even though we are going at our absolute maximum. I should have probably slowed down. Yeah, whatever. Over here, again, absolutely nothing, and nothing. Yeah, that's basically what compartmentalization is. You split the ship so much that you basically have nothing. I do kind of like the design. It is interesting having the firepower of the battleship. Not as much as the battleship, but at least a bit of the battleship's firepower. in a more compact form. Anyways, on to the next ship. Alright, our next ship is the light aircraft carrier. I should probably make a separate video where I actually use an aircraft carrier for something, because they are pretty interesting. Anyways, so let's talk about it. Here's the bridge. As you can see, we have horrible visibility because, unlike most aircraft carriers, I've placed the bridge right here below the flight deck, whereas for most aircraft carriers it's here on the side. Now I say most because a few aircraft carriers, specifically USS Langley, had the bridge down here, and even some World War II Japanese aircraft carriers had the bridge below the flight deck, but these are only like a few exceptions. Most aircraft carriers have the bridge on top. So yeah. Anyways, slight unorthodox design aside, you've got a pretty good aircraft capacity, 4 aircraft. Now, okay, this is pretty pitiful, but remember, it is tiny, okay, tiny for an aircraft carrier. Most aircraft carriers were 200 meters long. Like, in fact, here, you can see it compared to a normal aircraft carrier. It's absolutely tiny. So honestly, 4 aircraft is pretty good for it. Here in the front, you've got medical bays. You've got your bombs here, because the only armament the planes can carry is bombs. Here you've got equipment, fuel storage here and there. The elevator is here, and another plane over here. Machine gun ammo for the plane's guns, and back here you've got the aft section, which really doesn't have much. Actually, can I? Hold on. Let me check. No, I cannot. Here's the funnels, by the way. A lot of smoke. Alright, I say we go up. I do want to use the elevator though, but I don't know where I've parked the plane, so let's actually go from here. I think I can go from here, yes. Alright, let me close that. The plane, for some reason, I've parked it all the way back here. That's because its cable broke and it started rolling off. If I had not stopped it, it would have fallen down. Anyways, you've got, I don't know, sort of antennas here. It's supposed to be a slightly angled deck over here. Going forwards, here's the elevator. Of course it works, though it is pretty slow. Yeah, it can actually carry the planes. This aircraft carrier does function perfectly fine. 2 light autocannons for anti-aircraft defense. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a pretty empty... I mean, yeah, that's how a flight deck is supposed to be. Absolutely no obstacles for the aircraft to launch successfully. And speaking of aircraft, I really don't want to use an aircraft right now. I may show how they are used at the end or in a separate video. So yeah, I'm not gonna operate an aircraft in this showcase. I may release a separate video where I use an aircraft carrier for actual deployment, but here I won't really show that. So yeah, that's it for the light aircraft carrier. On to the next ship. Alright, the next ship is the battle cruiser. Now, the battle cruiser is based on the battleship hull, but it's made slightly slimmer, more hydrodynamic in the front and the back, and it has 4 propellers instead of the 2 propellers that the normal battleship had. And another thing, it has twice the boilers and twice the engines. The result is a pretty quick speed, in fact quicker than the destroyer and the torpedo boat. So yeah, the battlecruiser is in fact the fastest big ship. Though it only has 2 funnels, but they are massive and they spew out a lot of smoke. So yeah, obviously you saw the bridge right here, the 2 bridge wings. It has pretty big bridge wings, in all honesty. Over here you've got kind of like a bridge section connecting the forward bridge to the aft bridge, which really doesn't have anything inside. There is an observation tower up there, but I'm not gonna go up there. Down here we have, well, pretty much nothing, but we have the placement for the guns. They are in a super firing order, that's how they are called for some reason. 4 guns in total, same caliber as the battleship and the heavy cruiser. and they are a slightly different design than the previous ones, incorporating rangefinders. Supposedly, again, the rangefinders do not work because I do not know how to make a functional rangefinder. Anyways, aside from the design change, the guns are pretty much identical to the Battleship and the heavy cruiser, vice versa. No differences there. Same mechanism, just in a slightly more slimmer form factor. So yeah, 4 guns in total, and the exact same secondary armament with from the heavy cruiser, the same guns. So yeah, that's it for the outside of the ship. It is pretty big, at like 90 meters long, if I remember correctly. But the design is kind of weird, especially the bridge. Like, sometimes I cannot even tell which is the front of the ship. Anyways, let's go inside. Inside we've got a lot of compartmentalization. You can see the weird design of the funnels. Over here you've got a medical bay with a few beds. Here you've got access to the outside. And actually, there were these rooms here that I did not talk about that really don't have anything. They've got the funnel uptakes, and it is pretty inconvenient to get in and out of them. Mistake on my part. Same goes for here. And here you've got your armored bridge. Now, something to mention in ships. You've got your regular bridge up top, but you also have this. It's called a conning tower. It's basically the command center of the ship. It is armored to a great extent, and it is where the captain or commanding officer of the ship would be at. Again, here we've got another medical bay, access to the aft boiler room sections, and here even more equipment and more medical bays, because this is supposed to have a lot of crew members, so yeah. Alright, just like the heavy cruiser and the battleship that we'll see later, there's again a lot of compartmentalization to protect against flooding damage. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. So yeah, there really isn't much to show. The batteries are here, but that's about it. Section here that have literally no access. Honestly, yeah, I modified an already existing design, but I didn't do a very good job at modifying it. Anyways, so let's talk about these sections that actually do exist and are functional. You've got a total of, hold on, give me a second. Yeah, 8 boiler rooms with 2 boiler seats, so 16 boilers, which is a lot compared to basically everything else we've seen before. Over here you've got the engine room, which it's kind of weird. Yeah, there are 4 propellers, but I could not fit 4 engines, so I put this big engine and this smaller engine here. It's a very weird arrangement, but it works, so I guess that's okay. If it works, it works. Yeah. And again, due to all the compartmentalization, there really isn't anything here. And that's really it for the ship. So yeah, that's the battle cruiser. It's supposed to be a good ship. Battle cruisers were some of the best ships, but due to the way that I've made it, or the fact that it's way too big to like be useful at anything, I don't use it that much. It's not a bad design, it's just too big for me to like properly make it, to like properly put the work in it. It's just too big, that's the problem, okay? It's just too big. So yeah, on to the next ship. Our next ship is the Battleship. Now, it is the slowest, but also the widest ship we have. And it is pretty interesting in a few regards. First of all, it has the most amount of firepower out of all the ships. 6 turrets with 2 artillery cannons each. As for secondaries, it only has 2 battle cannons, similar to the ones on the Torpedo Boat. Yeah, it's not really heavy on secondary firepower, which is a kind of an issue, especially if you're fighting a lot of small, lightly armored, quick targets. Yeah, a bit of an issue there. I have actually showcased the Battleship before, but since then I do think I've done a few modifications. You have this torpedo net designed to protect against torpedoes, because when I was testing this ship, it was extremely vulnerable to torpedoes, so that's why I added that. Again, just like everything, this has probably the most amount of compartmentalization. I don't know what to really show, so I'll just go and show random things. Here we have the conning tower. Again, I don't know if you can actually control this ship from it. No, you cannot control it from here, unfortunately. I should have probably done that. Anyways, you have a pretty interesting observation area here. It is kind of interesting because, as you can see, it does actually kind of overhang on top of the turret. Pretty interesting. Down here, you really don't have anything. Moving here, you have the funnel uptakes and access to the boiler rooms. We'll go there later. Opening this door leads you to the cannons, and let me actually go in one of the cannons. They function exactly the same as the heavy cruiser because the heavy cruiser uses the exact same one, like they are the same. Unfortunately, you cannot press click to fire them. You have to press this button, which is a design flaw that I've done because I wanted to incorporate a feature where you just press a button from the bridge to fire all the cannons. The secondary armament, again, it's the same as the torpedo boat, but it has a gun shield, which I guess it's interesting. It's kind of in this elevated platform in order to be able to shoot targets from there all the way to there. The reason why I did this is because I did not want to add multiple of them, because performance was really bad with this ship, on my old computer at least. For here you've got a medical bay with a lot of beds, and down here equipment, and that's pretty much it. We'll do this briefly. Again, a lot of compartmentalization, bigger compartments than the battlecruiser, which is a bit of a problem. It means a lot more is going to flood from a torpedo, but at least you can actually move through them. You've got half as many boilers as the battlecruiser, which is by design actually. And because you have half as many boilers but the same space, that obviously means that there's a lot of empty space that really doesn't have anything. Though it does lead to good separation between the boiler rooms and the engine rooms. Which, speaking of the engine room, you've got a generator here, which is something only the Battleship has. You can actually turn the generator on and it does generate a good amount of electricity. Not that much, but you really don't need much electricity. Like, there isn't anything to power. Alright, and that's basically it. It's not a very good hydrodynamic design. It's very fat. You can easily see it here. It's very fat. Even the front is fat. The battlecruiser is a lot slimmer. But I mean, the battleship really isn't meant to go that fast. Honestly, it's pretty fast for the era it's based on. So yeah, that's the battleship. On to the last of the early ship. Alright, our last ship is the normal aircraft carrier. It's based on the battlecruiser hull, and it's the longest ship of all the ships I've made. It doesn't have, yeah, it in fact has less aircraft than the light aircraft carrier, though that's because though you could fit more. It's just that I've not fitted more aircraft due to, again, performance issues. Yeah. Just like the light aircraft carrier, the bridge is in the front, which obviously means horrific visibility. Even this section doesn't improve visibility that much. You've got windows to see the aircraft deck. No, hangar. Yes, hangar. Alright. Entering the aircraft hangar, we can see all the aircraft. Here, there's the bombs, the fuel tanks, and there is no ammo. There is no machine gun ammo for the aircraft. I kind of forgot to add that. Or actually, more like didn't think to add that. Anyways, the elevator is all the way back here, and there's an aft section there, but it does not have anything. And there are these sections on the sides, which actually do have
Oh wait, I went a bit up. I cannot fit. Yeah, they do actually have medical base there. And that is because originally on the aircraft carrier actually did have an island. The island is the bridge section where the aircraft carrier is controlled. Yeah, and it was here on the left side. I don't know if I have any photos, I might find any. I ended up removing the island, replacing it with this bridge that is below the flight deck, which is actually a good thing when you consider that there really isn't much space to launch aircraft and recover aircraft. So yeah, that's why I did that.
Alright, it should be noted that aircraft carriers of the same time period also had their bridge below the flight deck, so it's also a historically accurate difference.
Now, as for this section up here, you've got the most amount of anti-aircraft weaponry, 4 autocannons, again WASD, which means they are near impossible to aim, but I have actually taken out like a few aircraft with them. I do not remember how long the flight deck is, but I think it is either 90 or 100 meters. Either one of those. Again, I won't show how the aircrafts actually function, and that is because, well, let's just say it's extremely difficult. Not just the takeoff, but especially the landing. Like, I've done like 20 landing attempts, only like 2 or 3 of them were actually a success, all the others ended up in disaster. So yeah, it's extremely, and I fell down. As I was saying, it's extremely difficult, so that's why I will not attempt it here. I'll probably be stuck 20 minutes attempting it over and over again, always getting a failure. So yeah. That's the aircraft carrier. I don't really like using aircraft carriers. In my opinion, it's way too much work. It is nearly impossible. If you have like a full crew of like 20 people managing it, then yeah, maybe it's viable. But I don't know. And also, the weaponry, 2 bombs, yeah, that's not enough to do anything. So yeah, that's the aircraft carrier. In theory, it could be really good. In actuality, I'm not good with it, okay? That's the final takeaway. So yeah, that's it for this. We finished with the actual warships, now it's miscellaneous ships. And this is the ferry. The ferry is, well, a ferry. It really doesn't have much. It has interesting lights. The most amount of lights out of all the ships. It even has 2 megaphones here, and you can actually either play music or just speak with them using this. The whole reason why I built this was just to play songs on Stormworks multiplayer servers. Yeah, I'm not joking. Pretty usable as a ferry. You've got your tiny funnel here, a lot of seats, stairwell at the back, an internal area here, which I really don't know what to do with it. Honestly, the more I think about it, it's just a scaled down, a more optimized version and more refined version of the Andonothanasis ship that I had built a while back. You even have a smoking room in the front, pretty interesting. And here you've got, I don't know, I was thinking of like adding cabins and things, but I really have not worked on this ship like at all. So yeah, and in this mysterious box is both the boiler room and the engine room. Yeah. Here you have what's supposed to be a steering tiller. It doesn't actually do anything. I've tried. Actually, let's go in here. Here's the boiler room I was talking about, and here's the 1-cylinder engine. Such a thing has not even been heard of. You've even got the condenser up here, but yeah, 1-cylinder engine. Not even the SS Ohio had a 1-cylinder engine. Here you've got the balancing weight used to balance the ship, and here, oh, this is for stabilization. If I turn it off, this will stop. So yeah, that's the ferry, a small ship designed to ferry people around. In my opinion, it's a very nice ship. It's not very refined. I could do some more work to make it better, but all in all, it's a very nice ship. Another miscellaneous ship. This is the cargo ship. Now, you might think that this is a ship supposed to carry cargo, and I mean, yeah, that's what it's supposed to do, but I haven't really built almost any interior at all. And in fact, as you're probably seeing right now, it's not a really well put together ship. And the reason is because I planned for this ship to be used as target practice, like to test out the weapons on the other ships. And that's why, if you open this door, you just see a massive empty space where the engine is, and yeah, it's pretty empty because it wasn't supposed to be used normally. It was only supposed to like be hit by 100 rounds from a battle cannon and sunk. Almost the same goes for the cargo holds. Yeah, there really isn't anything to talk about this ship. It's not built to be used. Like what do I even say? It barely even has an interior. So yeah, that's the cargo ship. A ship that's designed to be destroyed. And it does that very well. So yeah. But hey, with the cargo ship, I mean, you could at least move some cargo, or at the very least it was actually functional and it could move. With this one though, this one doesn't even move. This, my friends, is the target ship. And as you can clearly tell, it's a target meant to be shot at. This one is specifically meant for like missiles, to like show how accurate they are. And yeah, I should mention that now we move on from the 1900s era to like 1970s era, which is the next ships I'm going to show. Alright, first ship on the slightly more modern ships list is the Corvette. Now, something interesting to mention is that with these modern... I almost fell. With these modern ships, it's gonna be a lot easier to turn them on because, well, they're diesel powered. You just turn on the engines, hold on, engage the clutch, and you're off. It's that simple. And in fact, with this, with the Corvette is actually very fast, like a good bit fast. Some good-eye individual may have noticed that this design is inspired from either the La Combattier class Corvette from France or the Tiger class? HS, I don't remember. I think, yeah, the Tiger class or the Albatross class from Germany. And I mean, it is somewhat similar. You have radar. I don't know how good the range is. But yeah, 5 kilometers range on the radar. You even have sonar with, again, 5 kilometers range. Speed, as you can see, it's very fast, 82 kilometers per hour. Let's lower that down, actually. We don't have to be going that fast to show this ship around. Here you have somewhat of a balcony with no access to go down. That's kind of a design flaw, honestly. Here you have a medical bay, equipment, weapons, and controls for the frontal DP gun. Heavy autocannon. Pretty good, actually. Though I don't think there's any ammo for it. Actually, hold on, let me check. You can actually access the front from here. It is kind of finicky, but you can. Actually, no, you do have rounds for the autocannon, and you can replenish ammo like this. Right, so that's it from the front. Let's go back. Here you have two light autocannons, but unlike the previous ones, they are actually mouse controlled, which means aiming is a lot easier and they can be far more accurate. As you can clearly see, they are also very smooth. So yeah, that's really good. Here you have ammo for them. Here you have somewhat of a access section for the engines, we'll go there later. And here are the 4 missiles. Now these missiles are kind of finicky, they are anti-ship missiles, but I do think they can actually track aircraft. As for how good they are, I think they have the same explosive power as the torpedo. They are kind of weird to control, to aim actually, and their launchers are pretty weird actually. Yeah, that's it for weaponry. Let's go down. Here are the two engines we have. Now there are repair tools, but they are on the front there, so if something happens here, it's gonna be difficult for you to respond because you'll have to run all the way up there to get the tools and go back here. Yeah, again, design flaw, but it is what it is. Okay, now you cannot exit. Actually you can, but if you want to exit quicker, I've done something very interesting. If you there's a staircase here that you can use to quickly grab onto while you're inside, and it will instantly appear you outside. Don't ask how that works, that is Stormworks logic. So yeah, that's the Corvette. Pretty interesting ship. Originally I wanted to use different missiles, more sophisticated ones that could also track aircraft better, and in general they worked better, but I couldn't for some reason. I had a few issues, certain few issues. So yeah, these are the missiles I ended up with. I'm not happy. If I could have resolved the issue, I would have resolved it. Anyways, but yeah, that's the Corvette. Onto the Frigate. The Frigate, the workhorse of nearly all modern day navies. This is a pretty cool design in my opinion that I've done, especially with how the weaponry is distributed around. It is quite performance heavy, and that's due to all the logic that I've added. Honestly, I could have designed the ship better. I just haven't gotten around to it. I probably will like revise the design and make it slightly better, but that's honestly for next time. Now that I think about it, I have a lot of responsibilities to do. You have a lot of weapons on the ship. Two heavy autocannons, one in the front, one in the rear. Yes, you've got this 10 missile launcher in the front, which is for anti-air, but it can also be used for anti-ship. I would not recommend it because it's better to save the missiles for actual aircraft. You even have two torpedoes on the side of the ship, and they are pretty powerful. Something to mention, unlike all the other torpedoes that you've seen before on all the other ships, these are actually sonar guided, so yeah, they are actually very lethal because they will hit the target. Anyways, in the back, behind the two funnels, there is in the back there is a seaweed system. I mean, yeah, this does look like the phalanx system on multiple US ships. Behind it are the four main anti-ship missiles. They are pretty potent. Behind them is the second heavy autocannon, and in here is ammunition for the heavy autocannon. But not just the heavy autocannon, also the rotary cannon, which is the seaweed. And you can actually replenish ammunition instantly from here. Here's where the torpedoes were sitting, as I previously said. Here is the interior of the ship. Now, it is pretty bare bones. There's nothing. You can see all the microcontrollers that are responsible for all the weaponry. You can see the funnel. You really can't call them uptakes with the way that they curve. Equipment. Here's where you actually operate the missiles from. And let's talk about this. You can see all the radars, targeting equipment, and cameras up here at the top. I probably will replace them because this specific targeting, how was it called? Targeting pack I use is meant for like anti-air, not really anti-ship. That's why it has that many radars. I could have used an anti-ship one, which would have been way smaller and way better on performance. This is honestly my mistake. Here is a medical bay, and the beds are tilted this way. This is because they could not fit upright. Very weird, probably not comfortable to sit in. But yeah, and here you can access the frontal gun to reload it from these drums. Again, just like the previous, just like the aft one, it opens up and you can reload immediately. The Deca missile launcher that I talked about before, and here you even have an anchor. And honestly, that's it for this ship. Yeah, it is of course armed to the teeth with weapons, but it's pretty small, especially when compared to real life destroy frigates. Anyways, I probably will do a better video showcasing all the weapons. I won't showcase the weapons here. I'll leave that to another time. If you want to see a video where I actually do use the modern ships, subscribe, and I'll make sure to make a video. Alright, and the final ship on the list, a ship that I literally built yesterday, the missile cruiser. Now, for some reason, it's extremely fast. I don't know why that is. It's as fast as the Corvette. Why are you this fast? Slow down, please. I do not want you to be that fast. Alright, there. We good. Alright. As you can see, it is way bigger than the frigate. It's not the biggest ship, but it is definitely the most advanced, most armed, and most lethal one. So, you've got a lot of weaponry. I don't know how to showcase all of the weaponry that you have at your disposal, so I'll just start at the front. So, just like how the frigate had 4 main missiles, this one has 16 in these launchers. You also have 6 missiles for air defense. Now, sure, the frigate had 10 air defense missiles. I don't know, I could not fit the same launcher here. Anyways, you also have a Seawees here at the front, but that's not the only Seawees, because at the back you have another I fell down. Because at the back you've got another Seawees at the back and 2 main guns also at the back. Now, this is a very interesting arrangement, putting both your main guns at the back instead of the front, like there's nothing in the front. It's actually similar to like Russian Kirov class missile cruiser, or Krivak frigate, or Kinda cruiser. They've made a lot of ships that have all their weaponry at the back. Interesting design choice. What is not interesting is the mistake that I've done, which is that both of them have the exact same controls. Now, this may not seem like much of an issue until you realize that their aiming is kind of difficult. So yeah, and also there is a slight issue when they both when they are elevated at their maximum and you try to turn them. Yeah, that will happen. That's not optimal. They still fire, which is a big mistake, because if you depress them again and fire them again, yeah, that is gonna happen. So yeah, again, just like the frigate, I will showcase all its weaponry in a separate video. So again, if you want to see that, subscribe and I'll make sure to make that video. As for interior, I've not, as I said, I literally made this yesterday. I haven't finished it already. There isn't anything in this top floor. Below there are a lot of medical bays, but that's about it. You also have some equipment, and down here it is more equipment and access to the engine. Oh wait a second, now that I think about it, it did not show the engines on the frigate. Anyways, so yeah, that's the missile cruiser. That's about it. I showed all the ships. Now it's time for either outro or something else. So yeah, that is all the ships that I've made. If you have any suggestions for like improvements to add or more ships ideas, please let me know. Again, for the modern ships, I will make a separate video where I showcase their weaponry in full depth, because, well, let's just say modern weaponry is a lot more complicated than just firing at the ship and hoping for the best. I think that's gonna be about it for this video. My throat has been absolutely destroyed with all the commentary, and I'm just gonna suffer with all the editing I have to do.
Suffer I did. This has been just about the worst editing experience of my life. But I will admit, it is kinda nice knowing that this video is one of the best videos that I've ever made. Well, I truly hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you did, give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. That's it for today. See you next time. And as always, I'm open to suggestions in the comments.